Hello and welcome to another Big Orbit Cards unboxing video. I'm Chris and today we'll be looking at the Gideon Martial Paragon Planeswalker Deck. So Planeswalker decks are the 60 card intro decks. You get the full deck with the Gideon Planeswalker card, the special one that you can only get in the box. You get 2 Amonkhet booster packs, the strategy insert and the magic quick reference guide. So let's get this cracked open. So let's take a look at the Planeswalker first. So we have Gideon. He's 4 and a white for a Gideon Planeswalker with 5 loyalty. You can +2 him to untap all creatures you control, and those creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. His 0 ability is until the end of turn. He becomes a 5/5 human soldier with indestructible that's still a planeswalker and prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. And then his -10 is creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. Tap all creatures your opponents control. So, fairly standard planeswalker, I'd say. And his +2 is pretty good. So, with one of the new mechanics, Exert, you can untap them all after they've exerted, whereas normally they wouldn't untap during your next untap step. His 0 is respectable, becoming a 5/5 soldier with indestructible, and prevent all damage that would be dealt to him. That's pretty strong. And his -10, if you manage to get it to that stage, then you're pretty much going to end the game with it. So you can tell from the Planeswalker card what the deck is going to be all about, really. So you get this nice box with the cards in it. So you've got your 60 card deck, and you've got your 2 booster packs, and your quick... That's actually not the quick reference guide, this is the just the guide. So let's start with having a look through the deck. Amazed I managed to get it open straight away. So this is the quick reference guide. So that folds out and gives you the anatomy of a turn and a few little hints and tips. So very useful for new players, which is what these sets are aimed at. So we start with the rares at the top. Hazoret's Favor to start with. So it's 2 and a red for an enchantment. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, you may have a target creature you control get +2/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. If you do, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So you play it, and then if you want, every time you play a creature, well, you play the creature in the first main phase, you can have it gain haste to get the immediate damage in, but you will have to sacrifice it at the end of your turn. So it's typical red going for immediate payoff over the long-term game. So Glory-Bound Initiate is 1 and a white for a 3/1 human warrior. You may exert Glory-Bound Initiate as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+3 and gains lifelink until end of turn. So, as I mentioned, Exert is one of the new mechanics. The reminder text here is very useful. So, an exerted creature won't untap during your next untap step. So you're going for an immediate benefit over long-term payoff. So, kind of a typical theme with this deck. But getting +1/+3 and lifelink is pretty useful, especially if with Gideon you can untap it. So Gideon's Resolve, there's 2 of in the deck. It's 4 and a white for an enchantment. When Gideon's Resolve enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or graveyard for a card named Gideon Martial Paragon, reveal it and put it into your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it, and creatures you control get +1/+1. So this is just like a flat out +1/+1 effect over all your creatures, with the added benefit of being able to get Gideon back from the graveyard if he's already died, or just tutor him out of your library. So, pretty useful card in the deck. So on to the bulk of the deck, so the commons and uncommons. We have Gustwalker, 1 and a white for a 2/2 human wizard. You can exert it as it attacks. When you do, it gets +1/+1 against flying until end of turn. So yeah, again, the exert mechanic is the whole point of the deck, and your ability to untap exerted creatures. Even if you don't get to untap it, +1/+1 and flying is pretty useful to get in that 3 damage. So there's 3 of those in the deck. So next we have Necrop Entangler, 1 and a red for a 2/1 human warrior with trample. You can exert it and it gets +1/+2 until end of turn. So again, another one where you maybe just want to get the immediate benefit. Pathmaker Initiate, 1 and a red for a 2/1 human wizard. You can tap him and target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. So yeah, I mean, it's just good for chipping away at your opponent. So you tap this, you swing in with something like your Gustwalker or Necrop Entangler, and you can exert them. So, because when you tap this, it's power 2 or less, but when you exert it, it bumps them up. So, useful card in the deck. Honored Crop Captain, 1 red and 1 white for a 3/2 human warrior. Whenever it attacks, other attacking creatures get +1/+0 until end of turn. So this is going to die. There's no two ways about it, really. Your opponent's going to block this to stop you getting the effect on later turns. But if you get more than one use out of it, it's great. 2 of those. We've got Companion of the Trials, so 2 and a white for a 2/2 bird soldier. Ooh. It has flying because it is a bird. You can pay 1 and a white to untap target creature. Activate this ability only if you control a Gideon Planeswalker. So, yeah, it's I mean, it's a little bit redundant considering Gideon's +2 is untap all creatures you control. But I mean, if you wanted to use Gideon's 0 ability or his 0 ability, because the -10 does the same thing, then this could be useful. And it's a 2/2 flyer. You can't really say no to that. Devoted Cropmate, 2 and a white for a 3/2 human warrior. You can exert it when it attacks. When you do, return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, yeah, pretty good. I mean, your Honored Crop Captains, like I said, they're going to die. So this is just a way to get them back. Graceful Cat, there are 4 of. So, 2 and a white for a 2/2 cat. When it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Interestingly enough, this doesn't have to exert to do that, it just gets it. Uncrop Crasher, 2 and a red for a 3/2 Minotaur Warrior with haste. You can exert it as it attacks, and when you do, target creature can't block this turn. This is pretty nice. Stopping your opponent's creatures from blocking is pretty useful for, again, just chipping away at the life total. We've got Sparring Mummy, 3 and a white, so when it enters the battlefield, untap target creature. This works great with exert. So you go to combat, you exert a creature or multiple creatures, and then second main phase you drop this and untap it. So, pretty useful. Got Tarkrop Elite, 3 and a white for a 2/2 flyer, which is a bird warrior. And you can exert it, and creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. So it's a nice anthem effect, just for exerting the creature, which, again, the deck revolves around you being able to untap those creatures as well. So be able to get the effect more than once. Next we've got Hyena Pack, 2 and 2 red for a 3/4 hyena, which is just a 3/4 hyena. Nothing really else to say about that. Next we've got the land base, so Stone Quarry. You can tap it for red or white, pretty standard. And we have the rest of the land base, so plains and mountains. And onto enchantments, instants and sorceries at the back. So we've got Cartouche of Zeal. It's 1 red for an enchantment, an aura cartouche. There are cards that interact with cartouches, so that text is fairly important. So you enchant a creature you control. When it enters the battlefield, target creature can't block this turn. Sorry. So you can you attach it to one of your creatures, and one of your opponent's creatures can't block. Pretty useful. And the creature you enchant gets +1/+1 and has haste. So you can drop a creature, and with a spare red mana, you drop the cartouche on it, and it can immediately attack. So the cartouches are great in this set. Then we have Impeccable Timing, 1 and a white for an instant, and it deals 3 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Just useful for getting rid of your opponent's stuff, really. So we have Trial of Zeal. Let's get the cartouches back because we're going to need those. So it's 2 and a red for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. And the important part is when a cartouche enters the battlefield under your control, return Trial of Zeal to its owner's hand. So this is pretty great. You can deal 3 damage for 3 mana, which isn't amazing. But the fact that you can play a cartouche and get this back and do it all over again, that's pretty good. Especially if you can get multiples off 1 cartouche. That can work really well. And then finally we have Electrify, so 3 and a red to deal 4 damage to target creature at instant speed. Just pretty standard removal. So yeah, that is the deck. You're all about exerting your creatures to get benefits, and then untapping them through various means so that you can still block on your turn and therefore not take too much damage on the return swing. So yeah, another good deck. It will obviously fight well against the Liliana deck, which is the other Planeswalker deck from the set. They are designed to work well against each other and have interesting games. So we've also got the 2 booster packs that come in the box. So the idea is that you play with the deck a few times, you get the idea of how it works, and then you crack the packs, see what you get, and see if you can add anything into the deck, like swap things around, make it a bit more consistent. So let's just go through all the cards quickly. So we've got Fanbearer, just a standard 1/2 zombie that you can pay 2 and tap a target creature. Supernatural Stamina, I like this card a lot actually. So 1 black, and until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0 and gains. When this creature dies, return it to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. And it's at instant speed as well, so you can use it to trade up with your opponent's creatures and still have your creature come back once it's died. Or you can do what I'm planning on doing and play this with Fling. Seems like it's going to be fun. Gustwalker, so there's already a couple of those in the deck. You could maybe add that in if you wanted an extra one. Forsake the Worldly, 2 and a white for an instant to exile target artifact or enchantment. And it also has cycling on it, so you can discard it, well, pay 2, discard it, and draw a card. So this could definitely go in the deck, and just the ability to exile an artifact or enchantment, of which there are a lot of enchantments in this set, and there's a lot of artifacts from the Kaladesh block. And even if there's no targets in your opponent's deck, you've got cycling, so it's not a dead card. You have the ability to discard it and draw another card. Cancel, decent counterspell. Aven Initiate, 3 and a blue for a 3/2 bird warrior with flying, and it has Embalm as well, so if it's in the graveyard you can exile it. And bring out a token copy of this, which has all the same stats and everything. Manticore of the Gauntlet, so 4 and a red for a 5/4 Manticore. And when it enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. And Manticore of the Gauntlet deals 3 damage to target opponent. It's an alright card, I suppose. A little bit expensive. I mean, for the stats, it's not that bad. But you do get the -1/-1 counter on one of your creatures. So, which can be the Manticore, so it could come in as a 5 mana 4/3. But you get the benefit of dealing 3 damage, so, you know. Fling! Oh, I was just talking about that. So, this is the combo. Really silly combo, but I'm going to make it work. So Fling, 1 and a red. As an additional cost to cast Fling, sacrifice a creature. And then Fling deals damage equal to the sacrificed creature's power to target creature or player. So, yeah, you're basically throwing your creatures at your opponent's face. But comboing it with supernatural stamina, your creature gets thrown at their face and then comes back to life at the end of, like straight away actually. Bitterblade Warrior, 1 and a green for a 2/2, and you can exert it to get +1/+0 and Death Touch until end of turn. Scribe of the Mindful, 2 and a blue for a 2/2 human cleric. You can pay 1, tap it, and sacrifice it to return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Could be useful sometimes. Angler Drake, 4 and 2 blue for a 4/4 Drake with flying. And when it enters the battlefield, you may return target creature to its owner's hand. So, nice bounce spell mixed in with a dragon. Well, Drake. Synchronized Strike, 2 and a green for an instant to untap 2 target creatures, and they each get +2/+2 until end of turn. Gravedigger, 3 and a black for a 2/2 zombie that basically returns a creature from your graveyard to your hand. And we have one of the new split cards, which is the rare. So these are really weird, like design-wise. Not that keen on them personally, but you know. So the first half is always like play it from your hand, and the second half is always play it from your graveyard. So failure and comply, so failure to comply. Failure is 1 and a blue to return target spell to its owner's hand at instant speed. So it's just a counter spell. Sort of. It's, yeah, just a bounce kind of counter. And then comply is 1 white, and it has aftermath, so you can only cast it from your graveyard, but you exile it when you cast it. So you choose a card name, and until your next turn, your opponents can't cast spells with the chosen name. So, funnily enough, you've just bounced a spell to their hand. You kind of know what's in their hand already, so, you know. The card works well with itself. And then we have a plains and a cat. And the final pack. Electrify, so if you need a bit more removal in the deck, you could add that in. Jeru's Resolve, 1 white for an instant to untap target creature, prevent all damage that would be dealt to it this turn. That would be pretty useful in this deck, the fact that you get to untap a creature. And it also has cycling, so if you don't feel you need it, you can just replace it by paying 2 mana. Supply Caravan, when it enters the battlefield, if you control a tapped creature, create a 1/1 white warrior token with vigilance. Not too bad. Floodwaters, 4 and 2 blue for a sorcery to return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands, and it has cycling too, so again, if you don't need it, you can just get rid of it. Scarab Feast, 1 black for an instant, exile it to 3 target cards from a single graveyard, and it has cycling as 1 black as the cost. If your opponent's relying on getting stuff out of the graveyard, this can be pretty good. Other than that, yeah. Slitherblade, 1 blue for a 1/2 Naga Rogue, and it can't be blocked. Evolving Wilds, typical Evolving Wilds, you just tap it and sacrifice it to search your library for a basic land and put it onto the battlefield tapped, so you can just get exactly what colour mana you need. Shed Weakness, 1 green for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn, and you can remove a -1/-1 counter from it. So, pretty nice. Thresher Lizard, 2 and a red for a 3/2 lizard. And it gets +1/+2 as long as you have 1 or fewer cards in hand. So red is all about like getting rid of your cards, basically, playing cheap stuff, so works quite well. Giant Spider, 2/4 for 3 and a green with reach, not bad. Vizier of Tumbling Sands, 2 and a blue for a 1/3 human cleric. You can tap it to untap another target permanent, and it has cycling 1 and blue. So this is useful actually as ramp, because you can untap your land and then tap it again to create more mana. So, but it has other uses as well. Baleful Amit, 2 and a black for a 4/3 with lifelink. When it enters the battlefield, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you control. So the Liliana deck is all about -1/-1 counters. So this fits well in that. Watchful Naga, 2 and a green for a 2/2 Naga Wizard, and you can exert it as it attacks. When you do, draw a card. So it's card advantage in Naga form. And our rare is Temit Vizier of Naktamun. I think I pronounced that right. 1 white and 1 blue for a 2/2 legendary human cleric. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature token you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn and can't be blocked this turn. And it has Embalm 3, white and a blue. So this works really well in an Embalm deck, because once you've embalmed a creature, it's a token. So all of your embalmed creatures, again, like, have the potential to get that +1/+1 and are unable to be blocked that turn. So pretty nice. And a mountain and a sacred cat. So a lot of the tokens are the embalmed creatures in the back of these packs. So there's very few filler cards now. There's like most of the packs you'll get will have tokens in them. So yeah. So that is the Gideon deck. All about just exerting your creatures and getting the benefits of that to then untap them unfairly. So yeah, overall pretty nice deck. So thanks for watching. Remember, all the cards you've seen in this video and all of the others from the Amonkhet set and other Magic sets can be bought or traded on our website, bigorbitcards.co.uk. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. So thanks for watching. Bye.